Some illnesses act so unnaturally, so impossibly, that scientists quietly wonder, did humanity stumble into something beyond biology? Something that behaves less like disease and more like a breach in reality? Most diseases follow rules, patterns of symptoms, predictable causes, and biological mechanisms that fit neatly inside the textbooks of medicine. But scattered across history and modern science are conditions so bizarre, so structurally wrong, that they challenge the very idea of what a human body is supposed to experience. These aren't just rare illnesses, they behave like intrusions. Sleep that disappears forever. Proteins that replicate like life itself, yet are not alive. Bodies that fall into trance-like states that echo ancient myths. And the deeper researchers look, the more these biological anomalies overlap with strange glitches in physics. Moments when experiments seem to brush against something outside our dimension. In this video, we're focusing on the mysteries that blur the line between disease, physics, and the impossible. 1. The sleep that couldn't die. Fatal familial insomnia and the rogue protein problem. Fatal familial insomnia is one of the most unsettling disorders ever documented. An illness where the body gradually forgets how to sleep, even as the mind begs for rest. Unlike ordinary diseases, this condition isn't caused by bacteria or viruses, but by prions, rogue proteins that fold incorrectly and spread like molecular dominoes. These prions behave almost like living organisms, despite having no DNA or ability to reproduce traditionally. Researchers have long questioned how something so biologically simple can trigger hallucinations, insomnia, and eventual system-wide collapse. Patients lose the ability to dream, to fully wake, and eventually to stay alive. It feels less like an illness and more like a switch in reality being turned off, cell by cell. 2. The shadow tremor syndromes, when movement becomes possession without a cause. In rare neurological clinics, physicians encounter tremor disorders that behave unlike Parkinson's, epilepsy, or any known neurochemical imbalance. These conditions strike without warning. Patients slip into trance-like states, limbs moving with their own eerie rhythm, as if following commands from an unseen conductor. EEG tests fail to detect seizures. Motor studies show no structural damage. And yet the body behaves as if hijacked by an invisible algorithm. Some researchers believe these disorders may emerge from micro-level misfires in the brain's timing circuits. Others suggest they originate from unknown environmental triggers. But the strangest cases involve synchronized movement among unrelated patients, occurring at identical timestamps without communication, a phenomenon so rare that scientists hesitate to publish the full details. 3. The vanishing infection. Diseases that spread without pathogens. Among the strangest modern medical mysteries are conditions that pass from person to person without any detectable microbe. Patients develop fever, neurological fog, or skin rashes, yet blood tests, cultures, and genomic scans show absolutely nothing. These pathogen-negative outbreaks challenge the core assumption of infectious disease, that something visible, measurable, or sequenced must be responsible. One infamous cluster documented in Neurology involved several patients who lived miles apart but developed identical lesions within hours of each other. Investigators ruled out environmental toxins and psychosomatic explanations. The CDC quietly referred to these as non-conventional transmissible events. If true, they suggest that some diseases may operate through pathways not yet recognized by human science. fields, particles, or forms of biological communication that remain invisible. 4. The skin that heals too fast. The hyper-regeneration phenomena. While most rare conditions weaken the body, a few do the opposite, displaying abilities that seem almost unnatural. Hyper-regeneration disorders cause wounds to heal at speeds far faster than normal biological limits. In several documented cases, deep cuts sealed within hours, leaving minimal scarring. Scientists studying these patients discovered that their cell turnover rate was accelerated in ways not compatible with typical human biology. Mitosis occurred with such precision and speed that even cancer-like mutations failed to appear. But this accelerated healing came with peculiar side effects: elevated body temperature, altered circadian rhythms, and unusual brainwave patterns during rest. Some researchers wonder whether these anomalies represent dormant genetic programs, switched on accidentally, or whether they reflect exposure to something humanity has yet to understand. 5. The dimension-like disorders. When patients slip through time perception. A handful of neurological syndromes distort not just memory or speech, but time itself. Patients experience minutes as hours, or days as seconds, and their physiological reactions match their altered perception. Heart rates accelerate or slow to patterns that don't reflect their activity. Hormone cycles run out of sync with daylight. One case study in The Lancet involved a patient who insisted he lived through 3 days while unconscious for just 45 minutes. His biological markers, stress hormones, protein breakdown, and REM cycle signatures supported his claim. Whether these distortions come from unknown brain circuitry or from interactions with external fields remains debated, but every case adds to a growing question: can the human brain momentarily step outside its own dimension of time? 6. The parallel illness theory. Are these conditions connected to dimensional anomalies? As strange as each of these disorders is individually, a growing school of thought suggests they may be connected. Some scientists propose that prions, unexplained movement syndromes, negative pathogen outbreaks, and time distortion disorders may all stem from the same underlying issue: unknown physics intersecting with biology. They point toward several global events that mirror the behavior of these illnesses. The CERN particle flash creating millisecond gaps, the Naval green fog disappearance, quantum lab particles appearing twice in the same place, rippling light distortions in Siberia, rooms stretching in Japan, and unknown signals blinking beneath Antarctic ice. Each event suggests the fabric of reality can be bent, momentarily, accidentally, by human technology or unknown natural forces. If that's true, then these diseases may be symptoms of those distortions, not causes. 7. The 6 events that resemble medical breaches in reality. 1. The CERN particle flash. During a high-energy collision, detectors recorded a brilliant flash, followed by missing milliseconds that no instrument could account for. Though quickly dismissed publicly, internal reports suggested the event temporarily altered particle behavior beyond the standard model. If biological systems were exposed to micro-level distortions, disorders like time perception shifts could theoretically follow. 2. The Philadelphia naval mist. The alleged disappearance of a ship inside a green fog is widely considered a myth. Yet declassified naval experimentation documents confirm the military was testing electromagnetic field manipulation at the time. If spatial fields warped, even momentarily, they may have shown how living tissue behaves inside unstable physics. 3. The quantum lab time loop. Researchers documented a particle appearing twice in the same location seconds apart, defying causality. Observers later reported odd sensory distortions, metallic tastes, blurry vision, and sudden fatigue. Symptoms resembling non-pathogen outbreaks were reported within 24 hours. 4. The Siberian Light Ripple. A rippling ring of light expanded across the sky, bending shadows and atmospheric density for nearly 20 seconds. Local clinics later logged a spike in neurological symptoms, tremors, hallucinations, and sleep disturbances, despite no environmental toxins found. 5. The Japan Room Distortion. A controlled experiment recorded a room shrinking and expanding by millimeters, without mechanical movement. Researchers exposed to the phenomenon reported bizarre time compression sensations and accelerated tissue repair in minor cuts. 6. The Antarctic Signal Blink. A high-energy pulse reflected upward from beneath the ice, as though something sent it back. Days later, a scientific team stationed nearby reported synchronized movement disturbances despite being isolated and healthy. Each event reinforces the idea that these illnesses, these impossible disorders, may not be purely biological. They may be echoes of something bending space, time, or molecular structure near humans without our awareness. 8. The Circular Theory. Illnesses as feedback, not origin. If these rare diseases are not random biological accidents but feedback from dimensional stressors, then humanity may be interacting with phenomena we cannot see. A feedback loop, a circular exchange. Human experiments distort space-time. Space-time distorts human biology, and the resulting conditions baffle medicine. This cycle creates illnesses that behave less like infections and more like glitches, moments when the rules stop applying. The idea sounds like science fiction, yet the medical cases and physical anomalies echo each other too closely to ignore. Whether through particle colliders, quantum studies, or natural forces in remote regions, humanity may have briefly opened windows into dimensions not meant for biological life, and our bodies responded the only way they could, by malfunctioning in ways that defy every known law. If this story shook your idea of reality, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Drop a comment telling me which anomaly you think is real, and which one might be waiting to happen again.